Hello, and welcome to Husky Talk. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I'm already getting laughed at for that line, but I'm still saying it nonetheless. I would like to thank our sponsors, Procyon Partners, the complete solution for all your financial services needs. President Sean Rabinowitz, he always delivers exceptional outcomes. So thank you for being a sponsor of Husky Talk. With me today, a very special guest. I finally get him solo so he can actually get some words in. Mr. Jamar Wilkins. Jamar, hello.
I'm good. I remember our charter pod with Woodward and Collins. I think that was ones that just kind of really exploded, and everyone wanted to kind of be on. But we were a 3-team.
That was great. It was madness.
Fun, and it covered different generations from different time gaps. From mine, 97 to 2001, 99 to 2003, and then Mike from 2000 2004. So it was a good 7-year gap of true history. But also with your intro, I feel it's very important to keep saying that you're the number one podcast in America. Because when the 98, which I'm enjoying hearing about from different perspectives, we had Coach home, and we were a good defensive team, but we gave up. You started at the 20, you got to the 20. We were bend but don't break defense, but we were very good at creating turnovers.
Yes.
Say, hey, we're the hottest turnover team in America, right? Like midway through.
You got to go with what you got, right?
And we believed it, and we were all getting turnovers. And then the funniest thing, I coached the Mighty Mites. This is my
I know. Oh my God, that's what I couldn't believe.
So I coached these Mighty Mites, right? And they're like, I'm new to town, and they're like, all right, Jamar, you run the defense. They just gave me to run the defense, and I was like, okay, like, what are you gonna teach them? I gotta teach these kids how to tackle first. So we're gonna put them in position. They're not gonna, we'll teach hand, we'll teach the scheme, we'll teach keys later, but let them just learn how to tackle the right way. So that's all I focused on, like the first 3 weeks of preseason, just getting them tackling. Then we moved on to keys, then hands, how to run to the ball. And then I think by the fourth game, we're playing this game, and it's raining, and it's some kid who's older. He scores a touchdown. They hawk the kid on the 3-yard line. My kid and another kid is super fast, cut 3-yard line. And we're winning. I think we're up 14-0, but we don't want them to score. And then we had a 5-play goal line stand with a penalty, and we stopped them on the last play. And I ran. Like, we're the hottest tackling team in America.
That's amazing. You're absolutely right.
Just the looks of these little, I call them helmets with legs. These little kids.
How old are they?
They're 6. They're 6, 7.
Oh my God! I get 6 years old in pads.
They just reacted.
They loved it.
And that was our mantra. So we didn't give up a touchdown. We gave up one touchdown. The second to last game, it was a 3rd grader who was playing because the other team didn't have kids, and I was pissed, and the kids were crying. We gave up a touchdown. I mean, no, it's all right. We won. It's okay.
Yeah.
We gave up a touchdown. We're not the best tackles in America. The fact that we learned that from Coach Rapone, and we had T-shirts made, best tackling team in America, and it was really, really fun because they were just all over the field, and it was just comical when just teams would just try to run on us, and just how the kids would
just go nowhere.
So keep feeling that, keep believing that you are the number one podcaster in America.
And I'll definitely have to get T-shirts made. Yeah. I do want to do that, and it's been fun because I talked to Carl Bond, I talked to Shank, and then meeting Murray the cat was very interesting.
Murray ran up 4.2.
That's what he said. I couldn't believe it. Where did you get this guy?
And the thing, like, when he ran, I remember that was like one of the moments. There's a few moments that you don't forget. And so we're in a field house in the blue turf, and we all saw it. It was just like he didn't touch the ground.
Yeah.
And we knew he was fast, but we know he was fast, and because he was, he's from Florida, so he has that little Florida kind of, and he had
he said that.
Funniest laugh of all. his laugh was just, so contagious.
He
And
said that coming to stores was like culture shock for him.
Yeah, he ran that 4.2 because we thought JY was a fast.
Yeah,
he ran that 4.2. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah. No, yeah, he said that they had a special personnel package just for him to go in.
Yeah.
And he only ran a couple routes.
Yeah.
Because of his speed, they just had him run a couple routes.
Yeah.
Or he said Shane would give him a look, and that would be it.
I think the memorial grass, high grass, slowed him down.
Oh, they cut it. They used to cut it so high, and then I remember when Randy got there, they cut it really low. It almost looked like turf.
Yeah.
And then it was tearing up so easily. Yeah. It's like, just don't mess with this stuff. Just let it go.
No.
We had talked before, and you played in Jersey, and you were getting recruited. I didn't ask. Had you gone to any football camps like the summer of your sophomore to junior year or junior to senior year to get evaluated? Did you have like a dream to go to Rutgers or Syracuse, something like that?
I think when we were kids, we used to live in Virginia from like 3 to 8.
Oh, okay.
We were down like Georgetown. We loved Georgetown basketball. So we would always go to basketball camp, me and my brother. That was kind of our reward, our membership of all. If you get second off for Georgetown basketball camp. So we went to camp, and that just illuminated my whole kind of, hey, I'm going to college. So camp. So we did that. By the time I was kind of in 8th grade, I kind of realized I wasn't really that good of a basketball player. Just feet were growing. My brother was much better. I could shoot, but just wasn't that good. And also playing basketball in my neighborhood was very political. It was all the coaches.
It always was.
Yeah, it was this kid, his friend, and coach's dad, and I was just like, no, I'm a football player. And I also had a good baseball team. We also had, football, baseball, and basketball was an afterthought. So I went to Rowan University. They had a football camp. I went to University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, because my stepdad, Kyle Anderson, his dad, was actually a track coach there. The field's named after him. So I went to that football camp. And then I went to the Syracuse football camp. That was like, okay.
I went to that one too.
Like, I would think it was junior. It was junior year going into. I went to Rutgers, which I didn't like. I didn't like the campus because I went to Syracuse after. The campus was beautiful. That kind of Omar East was there. A few players they were recruiting, and they were just different people. Their bodies were developed different.
Yeah.
Around 540. So I kind of knew where I benchmarked as an athlete. Oh my God, I gotta get better. I got better 40 times. I gotta get stronger. That's what I did. So then I got invited to the top 100 camp. But my recruiting journey was, I was small. I was quite small. Freshman year, I was 5'8".
Yeah.
On 40, and then sophomore year, I played defensive end. Kids just matured more than I did eventually.
That's how it happens. You can't control it.
Freshman year to sophomore year, I grew. I went up to 6'1", and then I got a job at Chicken Delight. And I was stuffing my chicken breasts.
Best thing for you.
And once I made that decision, I'm playing college football, either at a black school or somewhere Division III. So I would go pick up my my little brother and sister from whoever's watching them, drop them off, wait till either mom or stepdad got home, and then run to lift every day.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny you say that because Shane said the opposite. Like, he loved basketball, and he would have gone to a Division II or Division III school to play basketball.
Yeah.
But football really wasn't his love. He loved basketball.
And also, I was the best kid for my age group from 9, 10, 11, 12.
So you had already built a reputation.
They caught up to me, and either I can, I can put my tail between my chest and not move, or I can fight it. So I was like, I'm not the same player. And I knew it. My parents like, look, more kids are maturing faster than you are. You have hair in your chest. I didn't know how I sweat glands growing up.
Yeah, I know.
So then I just locked myself into the weight room. I watched the movie The Program all the time. I knew what it took. And coaches realized that, like this, and I grew a really, really strong relationship with my head football coach, Vincent Askeles, because he was just hanging out there from 6 o'clock at night, waiting to close the weight room, and I was always there. And just built a strong relationship with him. He told me a bunch of stories. He kind of admired. He watched my development. And so junior year, I'm 6'2", 200, playing defensive end, but my buddy, one of my really best friends named Cos Perez, he was a wrestler, catcher, tremendous athlete. He made like 13 All-State. And then my other running back friend, Marcus Battle, he had 31 touchdowns his senior year. I was his fullback and tight end. So schools were going to see them, but they didn't have the grades. So then my coach was like, hey, I got another kid who's good. So I had probably 3 games that really stood out, where I had like maybe 10 tackles, flying sideline to sideline, special team plays, everything that you needed. I checked the box on 3 games I had. So all of a sudden, all these coaches are looking. I got, the coolest thing in high school one time was I got pulled out of class.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Rutgers, and Nick Saban were all in.
Waiting to see you.
Cafeteria to look at me to see if I was the horse that they wanted.
That's amazing.
It was cool because it was like 6-period lunch. It was like the class above me that I always kind of looked up to. It wasn't one of my older brother's class below. And they said, right there, and they walk in and see me, and I shake everyone's hand.
And they got to see that.
I was quite popular the next day. And then going into my senior year, all the letters, all the box of letters, Nebraska, I still have them.
Yeah, we all keep them.
Yeah. It's rusty, it's moldy, it should be thrown away, but you don't.
Can't let it go.
I kind of let it got to my head. I was a little cocky, but I still worked hard. I still knew how to work hard.
Yeah.
The first game, senior year, it's 88 degrees. I got to wear the red tights with the gold pants. I went to get Chinese food that day. Some stupid.
That was your pregame meal?
No.
Oh.
I had 1 through 5. I had just an open time schedule.
Oh, right.
I was hungry before the pep rally or something. Something happened. I just didn't do a good job. But also, our defense was so good. Our senior year, my junior year, where I was literally playing 40 reps, just 40 games, running out, going back. I wasn't playing tight end. 2 seniors ahead of me. So I was just chilling playing defense. And I wasn't ready for that 80-rep game.
No. That's huge.
Doing things. We're playing against Teaneck. And the funny thing about Teaneck was when I went to that Syracuse camp, they had 12 kids from Teaneck at the camp. And I was the only kid on my team. And we were good friends, but they wind up beating us. And the problem was, one play, we unpinned on the 5-yard line. I still remember it. Kid, the tackle. I was getting double teamed. I got off the block, and the kid ran by me. I had a choice to chase him down. I started chasing him, and then all of a sudden I felt the Chinese food kick in, and I felt a cramp happen in my hamstring. So I pulled up.
Oh, my God.
Pulled up. He runs a touchdown. So I had a scholarship offer from Iowa, and this is my first game, and I'm playing middle linebacker again. The first time I played middle linebacker since I was 12.
Right, because you were end.
Always on the end. And I still had a great game. I scored a touchdown. I probably had maybe 15 tackles. The fact that I didn't chase that kid, my tape got fucking thrown, got frisbeed out of every coaching office. And
that one play.
What? I didn't get.
Wow.
So the coach pulls me aside on Monday. He's like, "Why didn't you chase the kid?" And I wound up cramping up that game. I wound up losing to them. And I was just like, he's like, "What did you do before the game?" I said, "I did." "You need to hydrate. Why are you wearing the tights and this and this and this?" And I was like, "Oh my God." Next game we play. Next game, I wrote on my thing at Iowa, right? Scholarship on me. First play, third play of the game, I level the quarterback, concussion. Next play, I block a punt. We beat Union, number 2 team in the country, in Jersey. We beat them 17-0. I have a great game.
You shut them out.
No one was there to see it. No one recorded it. So the recruiting went to my first game, and they went to my second game. It would have been a little bit different. So all of a sudden, the recruiting process dried up a little bit. I wasn't getting the offers. It got a little bit stressful towards like November. Everyone's kind of losing their minds a little bit. And then now it's like the Villanovas, the Bucknells. And the coach is like, just be patient. A lot of these teams will come back. You still got good tape. You just got to get this other batch of tape out there. And we had one of my stepdad's friends was like, all right, let's get you a highlight film. Let's get those tapes going. And then Vernon Hargraves called me from Connecticut and said, "Hey, we want you to come up." And it was like, oof, all right, relief. Let's go. So I go up to Connecticut and, meet Gooch. Did Shane tell you about Gooch?
He recruited me a little bit, so I got to know him pretty well.
No, not Gooch. Gooch.
Oh, Gooch. No. He didn't tell me about Gooch. No.
So Gooch was my thing. So me and Tight Gooch were playing Madden all day. Just then they take me across campus, the West Campus. That's when I meet Colin Christ, Dan Degman, Corey Durfus, Riddell Jump.
You got the crew.
Yes, and Hoffman, and they're all trying to figure out how finals is going to work out. Who there's like character. They had a board up of who was sitting next to who. It was a war room of of geography, all the classes that they're all in on how
all struggling. Yeah,
and I just
how we're gonna fix it.
It's camaraderie. A sink probably was broken that day, and there was a big, massive snowball fight that broke out between the campuses. So
God!
So it was super fun. I just love the guys, and I'm like, this is my school. So I get home on Monday, and Skip Holtz comes to me and says, "Hey, you're our priority. When do you come to school?" I'm like, "Come whenever you want." He's like, "No, you're a priority. When do you want me to come to your school?" I said, "Come on Tuesday." I said, "Oh, cool." So he shows up on Tuesday, but then I have a conversation with Tubby Raymond. Tubby Raymond calls me on Monday.
From Delaware, right?
"Hey, Jomar, I want you to come down." So my name is Jomar to all the coaches because for me to make the baseball team my freshman year, I have a looping A. So the A becomes the O. So the fact that Tubby Raymond, Hall of Fame coach, called me Jomar, I said, "Nah,
yeah.
I'm not getting called my wrong name again." Screw that. Vernon Hart winds up being my stepdad and eventually my fraternity brother. And Skip Holtz gave me the look. I'm going to put $100,000 on your table right now for you to come to the University of Connecticut. And I committed.
So they didn't. You went on the visit. Yep. They didn't offer you.
Oh, they offered
you
me.
Met with. They did offer you on the visit.
I did the first negotiation tactic where I walked out.
You walked out without taking it. Very smart.
They came back to my school on Tuesday. I left Sunday, came back Tuesday. That was it. It showed
that was very, very smooth.
Yeah. So that's it. That's how I wound up at UConn. And then when I was all done, they did my football dinner, and they said, "All right, here's the schools that offered Jamar a scholarship." And the only school that I wanted was Virginia. If Virginia offered scholarship just for the academics, that was my kind of dream school academic-wise, I would have taken. I said, if it's not Virginia, I don't care. So it was Northwestern, it was Maryland, Rutgers, Iowa came back last minute, but screw them.
Yeah, they already did the damage.
Yeah, Maine, all the A10 schools, Nova.
Right.
So I had a good batch of schools that came back after, once they kind of got over the fact. So that became the rally cry of every time my coach talks to the kids at North Bergen, like, don't ever give up on a play. I had a kid at scholarship at Iowa, he gave up. And I still go with it, even
That's true.
my flag football team and this team that I had with the Mighty Mites, just never give up on the play. Always finish, because this would happen to me. So, but trust me, I don't regret a second that I spent my time at the University of Connecticut. I don't live. Coach Rupone said something very, very great that I always remember, and I probably say this once a week. He said, shoulda, woulda, coulda, biggest club in America.
That is a great line.
Great line. It's a great line. So I probably spit that out once a week, twice a month. So I definitely don't live in the past. As you know, I'm very passionate about UConn, and I'm there. I had a successful year. Yeah, that was my recruiting journey.
That is such a great line, the way that he said it and the way that he put it.
Oh yeah.
It really is the biggest club around.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because I know Rutgers is in your backyard, and I know back then they were struggling, and I think it was Terry Shea who was the head coach. But Rutgers, what was their campus like? Because I heard they're massive.
Yeah, it's spotty. It's like, it doesn't feel, it's like a city. So you go into Rutgers, like,
right.
It's like, this campus. To be honest with you, I don't even remember. I go to Rutgers to watch a basketball game. I go to Rutgers to go to a football game, and it's just spot. You don't get it. You're like, okay, you're over here, you're over there. I don't even remember partying at Rutgers, being invited to go down there. I just never had the desire for it. So also, too, I think the big thing with UConn and Rutgers was it was just UConn just seemed more first class, seemed more boutique, seemed more kind of hand holding. It's 20,000. I think Rutgers probably has 20,000 too. But it's just, going to New England and seeing different people, different styles of people. I think the world are up in the Northeast because it's colder. It just seemed my fit. If I went to Rutgers, I'll be just like every other kid from New Jersey at Rutgers. So I felt that was a little bit of identity. I felt like that New York swag was kind
of for sure.
Swag was missing since I'm right across the river from the city. So I felt that was kind of where my identity would have been. If I went to Rutgers, I would just kind of been like everybody else from New Jersey.
Yeah, and I definitely think you made the right decision because Rutgers ended up struggling for another decade.
Yeah,
and we got it together.
I ran into guys I played football with, and it was just a struggle for a while. And obviously, the Schiano days were magnificent, and I was very proud of that moment. A bunch of guys too, like Kenny Britt, I coached against him. Just certain guys that you knew with the program who actually went there, because I was like, why would you go? I always felt I wanted to leave the state. I didn't want to stay home.
Yeah, stay at home. Let me ask you this, just because the new Syracuse coach who came in recruited very well, I guess, in New Jersey. I was curious if you had heard of him, if you had known about him, known of anyone that he has gotten to come to Syracuse this year for the class.
Well, the thing of Syracuse has a really, really strong allure in New Jersey, even with basketball.
Yes.
And that, hey, and I always kind of got jealous of it because, like, hey, we're actually 2.5 hours away, 3 hours away, and Syracuse is 4. So I just think that historical relevance of Syracuse, of Brown, is a little bit, has a longer tenure of history than ours. Yeah, now UConn with winning 6 national championships in basketball, having Danny Hurley from New Jersey, but it's still football. Football is the key draw. And it really, really upset me when I think it was either Pat Spallone just did a crappy job recruiting New Jersey.
Yeah, he did.
Bad job recruiting New Jersey. Because if you look at our list of players that came from New Jersey, they've all been program changers, from Jamal Lundy to James Hargraves. It's always a big linebacker, Donald Brown. Donald Brown's from New Jersey.
Jersey guy, yeah.
The Ziggy, the tight end from New Jersey.
Yep.
So The guys that you get from New Jersey are program changers, and also too, just being 2.5 hours away from home, it's a different aspect. So obviously, you want to recruit big in Florida, which we 18, but I also think it's important to recruit Pennsylvania for linemen, New Jersey for athletes, as a core ground. And I think EJ Barthel, who was with us for one season, did New Jersey very well. But yeah, New Jersey has to be your stomping ground because, hey, going to Connecticut 2.5 hours away, you're in a different region. Culturally, it's different. You're in New England. Your parents can see you play. It's wonderful. And I think we do well in the DMV area where Syracuse just kills New Jersey. They're just visible. They're here.
Yes.
They're seeing games. I'm a carded official, and I see Syracuse constantly at games, kind of doing the rounds. So good for them. But I think we need to focus on New Jersey more for us to be a successful program to really get the best kids we can get out of there.
No, I totally agree with you, and that has been one thing that's been missing from our program. And the other thing, well, first of all, I talked to Dave Schumann.
Yes.
He asked me to say hello to you.
Yes.
I've done some shows with him, and he's just been a great guy.
But you guys did a back-to-back, right? You did a follow-up from the follow-up.
Yeah. We ended up because I was talking with Phil Hunt, and he's interested in using Husky Talk in the athletic department, because we're connecting with alums, especially alums that they don't really talk to.
Yeah.
And I had Andy Baylock on.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know this, but Coach B is really the only one responsible for alumni relations. He has no assistants. He has no interns. He has nothing. It's just him.
Yeah.
And, he's doing all he can. He's sending, he sends out a newsletter every month. He tries to reach out to people they haven't connected with. But the fact that it's just him makes it very difficult to, put together like alumni functions. We just talked about the golf tournament on Monday. It was for basketball, apparently. Football should be having events like that.
Yeah,
there's different ways.
Oh,
we did.
Yeah, it's a mess. Every time we go, it's pretty banged up, and
it's what you would expect.
So the fun. What's interesting too. All right, the 98 team, and I want to give you a whole lot of credit for bringing those stories back because that was a really, really special time.
Well, it needs to be told because it was the best. It's the best team in UConn history. People don't say that.
It built Rensselaer Stadium. It built everything, and the fact that Skip left right after, and then Randy kind of forgot about it, and he never
wanted to erase it almost.
Yes, and then new coach, and it's like, man, that 98 team should have stood at our 25th anniversary was actually last year.
Right.
We should have stood on the halftime field to get recognized.
And they didn't do that.
The 20th anniversary, we should have been recognized for that team, but it just got so forgotten about. Also, too, the time of social media. Social media became a big thing about 2005, 2004, maybe 2006. And, we have, also, too, it's really cool. It was, Here we go. All right. So I found the videotape of the CD of that season. So when Chad Martin died, I was bummed. It just broke my heart because he was just this, I would chase him in the 200 and I couldn't get him.
Everyone said that about him. They said that he had speed for days and he was a monster.
However, I did get him. I got him the last week of summer camp. I got him twice. The last one he smoked me. But the fact that I got him was a personal glory of mine. So when he passed away, I said, "Oh shit, I went and I found this old 5-disc CD changer that was just sitting in my garage, and I had to find the right AC adapter to open it. And I opened it. I pumped it out. There it was. I sent it to Darby. Darby sent it to his friend, and we got it on. And it was just really, really special to kind of have it back. And Kaplan was like, "Oh, I got to put it up." And he has it somewhere, but he lost it too when they changed, when you guys went to sheds and stuff. So I had the tape, and it's on. I'm not sure it's on YouTube, but it's in there. But yeah, it's special just to kind of really, really remember that season, just to hear me, Shane, Tory Taylor, Shank, Io Sorrells, and sometimes Carlos shared a 2-bedroom apartment in 2E Penner in Celeron during that summer.
Oh my God. That's like, yeah, we did the same. We did something similar.
Yeah. So like,
Celeron, just packed it in.
Yeah. So this is my little, when I get in trouble, this is my little doghouse over here. And I sleep on the futon when I'm sick or something. And the railing reminds me of that summer of
hanging off the
how
railing.
I had to sleep that night, that middle futon bar.
Oh God, it was awful.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I used to steal Shane's car to go to class at 8 o'clock in the morning after partying all night. Man, we had it. And that's all the time I say it too. It's like even with the basketball program, right? I remember last year, Calipari took his kids to Drake's house, right? I'm at Drake's house. And I'm like, you know what? I bet you, and I go to UConn's basketball, and it's the summer, and they're working their ass off. I'm like, that's the difference. Summer of stores. If you spend the summer in stores, you become a different person. You just can pick up 100 pounds like it's nothing. You just become just this different human being. And we would go and party our brains out to 3 o'clock in the morning and make us be there. Sometimes slept at the facility.
Yeah.
Say, hey, we're ready to work out.
And that's what everyone has said, from Carl Bond to Shank. They all say that that summer really made you guys brothers.
Yeah.
And you really got to know each other on and off the field, which Carl said was most important, because a lot of guys didn't know the stories behind everyone.
Yeah.
And you got to know them personally for the first time.
So you had who did like, we had the weight competition, right? Like, I my shoulder was messed up, so I couldn't do that. But I wanted to be the leader squatter of the linebackers. So who squatted 465? I gotta get the 465.
Right.
Yo, this guy here, he benched 365 today. Like, no way, he did. Everyone's on 385, trying to get 385. All right, who cleaned the most? Oh, Degnan cleaned 205. I'm cleaning 225 today. And that's what it was. It was just like everyone ran to the board to see who did what. And we all kind of pushed each other to kind of be on that board. And that was the real special connection of just kind of how hard we work, and, everyone's yelling at each other. You couldn't lack off. You couldn't be late. Get in there, get back in there. Oh, you're not done yet. This is your time. Oh, I'm lifting twice today. Everyone was just really, really, really into it. And that was the same time the DMX album came out. Same time the DMX came out. So it was real.
Yeah, you used to blast music in the weight room back then, right? That's when they used to blast music.
So the DMX album came out, and that was it was Rocky IV and DMX. And
that's perfect.
That was it. So the DMX album was one of the reasons why, we were 10-3.
And people like the guys that I've talked to said that they enjoyed being in stores during the summer because there wasn't anyone there, and you pretty much had the run of the mill.
Well, we had an interesting spring. I'm not going to say names, but we got a little bit of trouble.
We did, yes.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
It was
And it gave us a chance to kind of refocus and not go home and not go back to Element, because that Element was waiting for us, back home as college kids, the partying and all that stuff, that UConn partying lifestyle, that
Well,
work
because
hard, play
there was
hard.
nothing else to do there. That was
Yeah,
part of it.
work hard, play hard will go home with you, and then
Right.
you'll kind of forget. And then we actually lost some players coming back because that was just kind of how it
Yeah.
was. But to have that work hard, play hard, and still stay within that environment, it was important for us to mature and kind of older guys look after the younger guys, young guys know the way. And I did my best to share that culture with you guys. Like, this is our UConn culture. Like, the UConn culture was like me. First person I met was Brad Keatley, and we were walking. He's the senior linebacker. And if you were walking, everyone picked you up. If you saw a teammate walking, they got in the car, you jump in, where you going? Take you somewhere. I remember I met Phil Hunt the first time. And I was like, oh, I need a lock. I forgot my lock. Because you don't lock your locker here. I said, what do you mean? No one's gonna steal from you.
No one's going to take anything. Yeah.
I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah, you're fine. So like that was the stuff that was like, wow, this is good. This is a special place.
That's what makes it different. Yeah.
Also, Larry Hare, listening to the Larry Hare thing,
Larry Hare was great.
Yeah, him getting that job a month in, a week before camp.
I couldn't believe how young he was.
Yeah, and his key word was trust.
Yep.
Trust. He said trust probably 50 times. And that was a key factor of us. Hey, I got to trust you. I trust you. And one thing that, Skip does, like, hey, treat these people right. Don't be mean to them. Be respectful. I always got the gloves, to see how all the different teammates reacted to, the staff, and how you treated him was very, very important. Because keeping that locker room, the first locker room you went to,
Right.
was super important to kind of have a clean locker room. And that was the first evolution of a team. When seniors would walk in the room and they'd see the locker room's a mess, they would yell at us and make sure everything was kind of buttoned down. So
that makes the difference when you can police yourselves, when you have seniors and leaders who police the team so the coaches don't have to.
Yes.
That makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And that shows you that you have a real team, because they're willing to step up and say, hey, we're not getting it done.
Yeah.
So the coaches don't have to.
Yeah. And you also got to be respectful, because you look at guys like Bob Quinn. I'm not sure if you were there with Bob Quinn, where Bob Quinn was an equipment staff, and all of a sudden he's a GM of the Patriots. And
I heard about him. Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's crazy. But I remember we spoke about, and we want to talk about this season, but one thing I kind of, want to talk about the football season is, it's like UConn have an identity. And I hate when, I looked on our little preview, it's like, oh, they're going to pass the ball more. I'm like, why? Why are we going to pass the ball more? All the times we were good, we had 2 running backs.
And that's exactly what I talked about with Schumann. Was number one, with the schedule they have, they should win a minimum of 6 games.
Yes.
Number 2, Randy figured it out. We have an advantage because of the weather, because we play outside, we play at Rentschler Field where it's windy.
Yeah.
He knew we had to run the ball. We had to play tough field position. We had to play tough defense and play the field position game.
Yeah.
And that's how we won games.
And why do you think we won those years? Won the Big East. The Big East helped us because of schedule. Because we played West Virginia and maybe Syracuse and Louisville all came to Rentschler Field.
Couldn't handle it.
They could handle it. So we got a night game. There's actually dark spots in the corner of the end zone. So on the opponent's right end zone towards the student section, there's a dark spot. So if you throw a fade there, you can't catch it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't see it anymore. The high grass at Rentschler Field. So every time, like, either
they knew,
and that's where they're good. So this season we have Cam Edwards and Nick Rosa, who are 2 good running backs. But when Diaco came, they're doing the spread and the wing.
We tried to do the spread, which didn't fit.
We're not going to find 5 great linemen that's going to keep the quarterback upright. You need to squeeze a tight end and a fullback or something to kind of keep them going. You look at the days of Jordan Todman and Andrew Dixon. You look at the days of Terry Colley and Chris Bellamy.
Yeah.
Cornell Brockingham and Matt Lawrence.
Brock and Lawrence, absolutely.
Did Todman back up Brown? Who was Don?
No, Cornell Brockington did, I believe, and then he ended up leaving early
After
because
1,000 yards.
well, he was sandwiched in between Terry Cully when Terry got hurt. He took over, had that great season, and then Brock had Todd and Matt Lawrence still there, and he kind of saw the writing on the wall because I mean he was splitting with Bellamy a little bit too for the Motor City Bowl, I think.
Yeah.
And he saw all that and he said, I'm really not going to have an opportunity to play. And he left early. Like he was one of the first ones to leave school early for the draft. Like he thought he was going to get picked. And he went to Washington.
So speaking of Todman, right? So something that I so 11-year gap. So you were at that game. You were at that UMass game, November 21st, 1998. You were at that game.
That's what sold me on UConn.
So November 21st, that was actually, I had the picture of myself right here of that game.
Yeah, that was in the office.
Yeah. It was in the office. I got it. So that game right there was my best game. I lost game for a second there.
Yeah.
That was my best game as a 15 tackles monster game. 11 years later, we played Notre Dame.
Yeah, 2009. Yep.
November 1st, 2009. And I kind of said that to Tory Taylor and Jeremy Harper. So you know what today is? November 21st. Same day we beat UMass. We're gonna win this game today. So we're losing 14-0 at Notre Dame. And Todman takes it to the house.
They had Todman and Andre Dixon were the two.
Todman took it to the house. And I was like, we're back in the game. And then now we're kind of in control. And Frazier sucked that day. And it was just Todman.
Zach was awful. Yep.
And all it was counter.
Power. Yeah.
And then Charlie Weiss did 2 quick slants. I love the cornerbacks of Belidi Ray and the other kid that we had, Bratz. Those 2 corners were awesome. My favorite corners.
Devon Branch. Yeah. He played in the NFL.
And McLean. We still had McLean. I think he had a punt return for a touchdown that day. And then our coach now, Kashif Moore, he made the great catch. Kashif Moore. And I look up and it's 33-0. 33-30 UConn, and I cried. Me and Justin Cook.
I did too. Right? I did too.
I'm just crying, and it was just the fact that was that day. That was the day of just UConn pinnacle, and it was 11 days of the fact that we beat UMass, and just that gap of UConn football was just all.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about, because really, like, the 90s was focused on building that foundation.
Yeah.
Lou Perkins, I never knew had a plan to take us to Division 1A, which he did. He made us Division 1 FBS. Randy comes in, doesn't start off great, but he begins to figure it out. From 2002 to 2010, we were very, very good and in a bowl game almost every year.
Yeah.
2010, we go to the Fiesta Bowl, whatever, the Fiesta Bowl happens. And that is when the downfall kind of began. And I don't know, Randy was very candid when I had him on the podcast. He believed because of the academic standards, he wasn't super close with Jeff Hathaway, the new athletic director who took over for Lou Perkins. And he did not, he felt that was his best opportunity to maximize his value, and he leaves for Maryland. Okay.
I think he was a year late. He would have got the Penn State job.
You know what? He probably would have. I mean, he had
stayed one more year, and then, but also too, you know what you don't realize too? Who died in 2010?
I don't know who died in 2010.
Coach Martin.
Oh, Jerry Martin did. That's right. That was 2010.
That's when he kind of went away from the program.
Oh, yeah. That was his boy. They were super close.
Yeah, we were pumping out pros. We were taking division 3-stars, 2-stars, 1-star kids and making them.
We developed kids better than anyone.
Super developed, and how they get developed. They spent the summer in stores. So Randy figured out the process of recruiting these kids and getting them there. And
you're right.
Just having kids who were just 2 inches shorter, 1 step slower, but good enough to beat West Virginia, good enough to beat Louisville, good enough to beat these teams.
Yeah.
And,
100%.
Jerry Martin there, and then just, and then Pasqualoni was just an awful hire because
and everyone in Connecticut was rejoicing that they hired Pasqualoni because Randy didn't have the best relationship with the Connecticut high school football coaches, and Coach P was a Cheshire guy, and they thought because he was going to talk to them, invite them to games, to clinics, and work with them more, that it was a good hire. But he was past his prime, and I think they should have went with a younger guy.
Yeah, if you jump around from NFL program, NFL program, NFL program, that's not good
every year.
Yeah, that's not the lifestyle. So it was more of a pension pad for him, and just
George DeLeon.
Yeah, he recruited me at Syracuse, and he's a good guy. But for him at the time, he was very old to be the offensive coordinator. It was like, oh man, and they actually did well. Then
R.I.P. for him, but
Diaco was a young guy that we wanted, and he was just in over his heads, and the funny part, you came and find Diaco now. He didn't even get a second job.
Well, he's at I think he's the DC at Nebraska right now. I think he ended up as an analyst, and then he wound up there.
Well, but I'm happy about the guys like Todd Orlando. You look up.
He was the best.
You see Nitro.
He's done so well
working at USC, and I also think UConn is the people that pass through. Nick Rapone, who I mentioned earlier.
He's in the NFL.
Those guys, the Buccaneers, that championship game against the Chiefs, what made them win the championship? They tackled. They tackled.
Which nobody does anymore.
Yeah. So
nobody worked on it.
The way they played that secondary, that makes me very, very happy. And it's really special to watch the coaches that come through UConn. A lot of Coach Ferenc. It's a really, really special play. Looking to Dan and Butler on ESPN, the way they talk about football, that makes it special. Who else is the GM? There's another GM from UConn that's out there, not just I forgot, not just Quinn.
I think it's not the guy on the Lions, right? Quinn. I froze you again. Yeah, so you had quite the young D-line room early on, and that must have been interesting to manage because some guys take to freshmen, other guys don't.
Yeah.
So you were someone who definitely took to the younger guys and wanted to help them.
Yeah, I thought it was important to be a culture carrier. There wasn't much of us going on, especially that group of people that Edsel didn't keep around. Colin.
For sure. Like he basically made him leave early.
Yeah, those were strong personalities, great football players, great spirits, fighters. So then all of a sudden it's me, Rennell, and Timko were the only seniors in that room. And then there was just boom, a big gap. So you think that we had Kashama, then we Bushy, who just Auburn at the time,
and Hakeem was like 28.
Yeah, he was older than me, so I was kind of mad about that. Him and who's my buddy, his roommate? Damn, I can't believe I forgot his name. O'Neal
Wilson. Yep, he had O'Neal Wilson, the Canadian crew.
Me, him, Jamal Lundy, O'Neal. We were all roommates together. So then there's also Quags. We had Quags.
Wait a second. You roomed with Hakeem, O'Neal, and they stuck you with all freshmen?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I forgot what I just couldn't. I loved West. I was a West Campus diehard.
You were. I know.
Proximity to, and I was still living there, kind of, sort of. Like on the weekends, I had a little stash house there. it was. I had a crew. I had a crew of just great. It was when Jamar, the football player, was just Jamar, the regular student. I would go there and just be normal.
I talked to Greg Smoot today, and he wanted me to say hello to you, by the way.
And he's doing okay?
Well, define okay.
Football is
Man, I feel so bad.
Yeah.
He is just messed up.
But also,
He's so messed up.
Talk about it. He got thrown into the fire as
as a freshman, absolutely.
Yeah, he's going up and playing SEC lineman, and your body's not supposed to do that.
No. But like, he was a polite, quiet, respectful kid.
Yeah.
And now he just talks and talks and talks. He talks a lot, which is fine, but it's just a complete change from who he was. And I feel bad for him because he drives in his car all day and he just parks and he smokes weed. And that's what gets him through it.
Yeah. So I graduated college. We'll get to the baby. I graduated college on September 11th.
Right.
Here I am, good student at college. I don't have a job. I had a lifeguard, bouncing, delivering food. That's not what college graduates do. But I was told, go home, find a job, make $50,000, find something you like, work for a company, whatever. But what's interesting, I had to work security.
That's what you said, yeah.
At MSNBC for like maybe 3 or 4 months. It's very depressing, but I would meet these truckers that would come into the thing, and they just wanted to talk. They were just lonely people.
Yeah.
At the trucker disease, where you're in your car all day, you're listening, and all of a sudden, boom, you find someone and you want to kind of chew their ear off or give them an ear beating.
I try to call him every day. He's on total disability.
Yeah.
And he's very sketchy about who he will talk to.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he at least talks to me and he lets me know how he's doing. I mean, he broke his hand because he got angry and punched a steel wall or concrete wall, and he's got pins in his hand and he had a cast on, and they had to do surgery for him on that. And he says he has real issues with anger.
Yeah.
He goes to the best doctors. He goes to Johns Hopkins.
Yeah.
He's on total disability now, and he's struggling to survive day to day.
So here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do about that. Eventually, one of my good friends, I told you a kid, Kaz Banky, all athlete. He was like defensive tackle. Great. He's actually the VP of the Orioles right now. So the kid who couldn't go to school because he didn't have the grades to play Division I football, guess what? He is the VP of the Orioles. So I go to an Orioles game once a year, twice a year. So having this conversation, being a teammate, I'm going to reach out to Smoot and try to go to an Orioles game together.
He would love that.
Yeah.
He would absolutely love that. He would love that.
Yeah. So he was part of my baby D line. Warren Spivey, Kenny
Wilson. I forgot they moved him there, and he hated it. He did not want to be a D lineman at all.
Yeah, he envisioned the great there as a little slick linebacker, big linebacker. Big linebackers didn't exist anymore. They were out.
No, they weren't.
So I got moved to that, and like I said, I love that 2002 team. That it was obviously Orlovsky. It was the running backs that was Cully was developing, but it was that D line that really changed that team around.
Ferocious.
The running back and then the linebackers with Fincher and Lloyd and Lundy changed that team around, and that gave them what they needed. So when you guys beat Rutgers, it was front, and then you guys felt how confident you are, and that jump led over to the 2003 team. But 2002. But the baby room was interesting, and watching that team really. Mulcahy became I can't believe that he actually made the jump into D tackle because he was so tall and so skinny. But
yeah, they put some weight on him. I played with him in NFL Europe. I mean, he got so much better, and he was a force inside. I mean, he was someone they needed really to plug the inside and open up lanes for the linebackers.
Your freshman year, I didn't have that. I didn't have a plugger. Ron Gamble was, and so guys were just getting up in my face. I got spit in my face every game. Someone just got in my face and just got into me, and it sucked because, I really wanted to be good at middle linebacker. Really, really wanted to do it, and it just didn't work out. Led team in tackles. Also, I couldn't cover the gap backs. Just kind of dropping in coverage. It was 175-pound, 5'9" kids around you. Like the tight ends, I was fine with. But when I got moved to defensive end, it was like a whole new world. It was just, you watch film as a linebacker. Told that to Uwe. I'm like, it's awesome because practice is easier. And if you really watch film the right way, you won't get touched. He's like, what do you mean? You know when a tackle's coming. You know when a tight end's coming down on you. You know when a tackle's fucking going to pull or he's going to.
Yeah, you can just read the stances. Yeah.
Who's blitzing? If someone's blitzing. So when Razul used to blitz up the middle, I used to hang outside because I knew he would come in like a wrecking ball. It was eventually going to come my way.
But the other thing was you guys especially had to play for you had Rapone. Was there somebody before Rapone that you played for?
No, I had
Rapone and Toop.
No, I had Toop. I ran into Toop a couple of years ago. U.S. Coastal Academy doing Division III football. The head coach Andy.
He was the head coach.
Yeah, so ran into him 4-5. He was happy to remembered. But yeah, it was. I had a different position coach every year at UConn. Another fun fact.
Every year. At Donnie Roberts. That's right.
Then I got Nick Rapone was a linebacker coach. He came down. That was fun. He was riot. And then I had Orlando my junior year and Donnie Roberts my senior year. So
and everyone speaks so highly of Nick Rapone and Todd Fitch. They said that they were both just incredible coaches and a big, big part of the success that you guys had in 98.
Yeah, they were just true. Nick Rapone reminded me a lot of my high school coach, Vinny Ascoli. Both Italian guys, tough as nails, will tell you straight, knew how to motivate you, had these funny little sayings like, "Hey, you guys, quit playing grab ass over there." Like, they would start grabbing each other's ass, joking around. And we had my linebacker room was super funny. And I was just with my college roommate Carlos Harris from Orlando last week, and man, we just laughed. We just giggled because we just had a really, really special time. Well,
you had to when you're putting so many hours in, like we did. You got to have fun.
Oh yeah. If you put it like we had a 50-disc CD changer, and you can put on any song, and we had a story to it. We had a story to it. I remember, Murray was part of those Florida dudes who brought Little John and Master P to the radio. I was like, this shit sucks. And after a month later, this shit, we're about it.
Yeah, we love it.
So there's just a culture shock. I think that whole culture thing of learning different ways at different people really kind of helped me professionally because, you had to, in that locker room, you got to get along with everybody. And I don't ever remember there being a fight. I don't ever remember there being someone fighting.
John Taxel-Toritas beat me up. That was about it in the locker room. He
was someone who wasn't a culture carrier.
That was more of an incident, initiation than anything. I was being a little disrespectful.
The fight in college was with him. We picked up the rugby team, and the rugby team burned our equipment shed after a nickel night.
They burned the equipment shed?
Yeah, they burned it. So me, Taxi, I don't know if Hessel was there because Taxi was dating Hessel's sister.
Yes.
I forgot who it was, but we got into a fight with the rugby team, and Taxi laced some dude, knocked him square out. I took on two dudes. That's what it was like during winter workouts. That superhuman strength. I think I had some dude up on a tree, just pounding away. And then we went to practice the next day, and they burned our practice facility.
Well, what's funny is the sponsor of our show, President Sean Rabinowitz of Procyon Partners, rugby player. he was the rugby guy.
It was 99. It was spring of 99. So I'm
That's
sure
crazy.
He was there with Wags, but I know Sean. Sean's one of the younger guys. There was a bunch of the older guys.
Yes.
I don't think he's there. But yeah, if you ever bring up the,
I am going to ask him. I can't wait.
Yeah, that happened. It was also part of Randy's first spring at UConn, and he's just like, "What is going on?" And
well, the story of the throw in the rings is the one I can't believe.
Guys got arrested during spring weekend. He's like, "What's going on?" He brought in Chad Cook and Burton and DeLucia. And who are these guys getting arrested? And he's like, "Oh well, we're actually down 75% from last spring weekend. Last year we had guys get arrested.
We're improving."
Just a 3. So yeah, those are different times. But I think we talked about, in closing, just being just some guys you're going to throw at me who I can just talk about, because I think it's important for guys to hear their names on these podcasts, because it's very special, and just kind of seeing guys when they first came in and kind of where they ended. It's really, really cool to kind of see how, who my favorite players were, and who guys who I was proud of, who were in my little baby room or at a different position, that became special players for UConn football.
Well, so, I was doing the show with Dave Schumann. Like I said, we were looking at the schedule, okay? And they have to be able to win 6 games playing Buffalo, playing Georgia State, playing FAU. I mean, some of those playing Temple. I mean, I know Maryland is, on the lower edge of the Big Ten, but realistically, especially playing at home, they got to get those wins.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You see Buffalo's facility now?
Yeah, no, I know they put a ton of money into it, and it's state money. Yeah.
That facility looks good. Every time sometimes they pop up on my Instagram feed or on Twitter, and I find out how hard they're working. They want it. They've been for a while, so don't sleep on them. Maryland. Going down to the ACC. I remember when you guys played. You played NC State, right?
Yeah, in 2003.
Yeah, and you guys could have won that game, right?
Yes, that's when they had Mario Williams and Phillip Rivers.
Yeah. So, and you still could have won. But
we should have. Yeah.
I think of that game like that, where they don't have, maybe us being a basketball power kind of gets them a little bit motivated. But it's a game that we can go in and grab if we play the right way, because they don't know what the film takes. Those are games that you go in, you shock them because there's no film.
Exactly.
So you go grab them.
And then they play Merrimack.
Yeah, they gotta be Merrimack. And then they go and they play Duke.
Yep, they got Duke. Duke's a tough team.
And the Wake Forest, right? So Duke's gonna be fast and quick. Bad spot for us. Duke coming to us, or we're going to Duke?
I think we are going there.
And then after that, we play 6 straight games at home against mediocre opponents.
Yeah, we got UAB, and
the goal is financially get into a bowl game, but don't blow the budget. Get into a bowl game, but don't get into a bowl game where we have to spend a lot of money, because
you're right, because unless us going to a lower level mid-tier bowl game, you're right, that's going to cost us money to do that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So go to if we got to go to the International Bowl, we got to go to the Pinstripe Bowl, make a bowl for just the pride of the university for the football, because you got to get on your resume that you win a bowl game for us to eventually get scooped up.
I think we travel well for it too. I think everyone is ready.
Yeah, but I think what killed us was I remember all getting ready for the Fiesta Bowl, and the Fiesta Bowl killer was the fact that it was we wanted that Orange Bowl game.
I know we did, to Arizona.
Yeah, getting Arizona from Bradley, getting Arizona from New York was just tough. If we would have got that Orange Bowl game, we sold 10,000 tickets. We would have sold.
Oh, you went?
I went. Yeah, we went. It was
Oh,
fun.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had a great time.
Yeah,
You woke up in the morning and we had fucking eating fucking leftover fucking nachos and Randy Etzels on a plane to Mexico.
how early did you get to the Fiesta Bowl? Did you get there just a day before and stay the weekend, or?
Before, hung out with JY, which was super cool. JY was a completely different person from when
Amazing.
he left school, how smart he was. So I'm proud of him being a defensive coordinator in Toronto. So me and Tight Man were hanging out with him. And then we're trying to set up a tailgate, but there's no tailgate. You just go to the live spot. Now, this is the funny part about the Fiesta Bowl, right? So we're sitting there in the band. We're coming in, right? And here comes the Oklahoma bus, the trailer. Oklahoma has 3 fucking 18-wheeler, maybe a 24-wheeler trailer.
Oh my God.
The Oklahoma in the back, they come wheeling in to a fucking big, huge Mack truck, grilled out. We had an Atlas van line.
That's amazing. They
So
drove for.
you look down in the tunnel, you see this fucking monster freight.
They were a machine.
Out.
Yeah.
And we had little Atlas van lines, little truck. I was like, oh man, we're gonna get smoked. That was the difference. You know, the art of war was something I read quite a bit. You win the battle before you fight it.
You do,
and,
yeah.
And
but I mean, you realistically,
all the time, we lost that game at the time when the van line showed up.
We could have played that game 100 times, and maybe I don't know if they would have beat us 99 out of 100, but they probably would have beat us 100 out of 100. I mean, I don't know that we could have competed with them.
Yeah, but also too, let's go back in time too. I remember I went down one of my best tailgates that I put together was the Miami game. Hard, even though we got blown out.
We didn't get blown out as bad as people think. It was like 39-14.
You covered, but the way you hit them, the way you guys hit them was like, ooh. We sat in front of the band and the kids, and they were talking trash. And the way that we, kick off teams, hitting people, we weren't scared of them. So that was part of the 0-2 team. And then later on that year, you went and you played Rutgers and you won, and you beat Iowa
State. Yeah.
You guys were sticking them. And that was really, really cool to see how hard you guys played. And that culture that we instilled in you guys was there because it was just that fight, that tenacity. Hey, we know we're not going to win, but we're not going to go out. Like for instance, for us, we played Kentucky. We played Kentucky tough the first half. We were hitting.
Yeah. Then we just didn't have the depth. I mean,
no.
They just wore us down in the heat.
Yeah,
I remember that game.
Yeah, so those are different times where, yes, we did walk in a certain game, like the Boston College game that we played. We were just outmatched. There was no.
I honestly thought that we had a chance in that game because we had played Louisville the week before.
Yeah,
and we played them so tough.
Yeah.
And then BC, everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah, I had a really good game. 2 sacks. I had my first college interception against that Louisville game. So feeling good. We competed. We could have won. And then we go to Boston College, and I got to the line, 45 here, 45 here, 45 here, check 45. I played so well the game before.
They ran away from you.
And however, that game led us to play really well in Akron. So
that was the big win. Yeah.
Game was more important than the BC game, surprisingly. So us beating Akron was important.
They went to a bowl that year. I mean, they were really good that year.
Yeah, they thought they're going to beat us, but I think individually that game, Uwe identified himself that game. Evan Benson had a monster game that day.
He did. He stepped up.
Fitz played tremendous, and Jeff Heil, out of all people, saved the day with the field goal to win that game.
And it wasn't a short field goal.
Yeah, I think Lundy had a great game. I think a lot of guys figured out who they were that game. Even Terrence, we all fought individually and kind of figured out who we were that Akron game. So the Boston College ass whooping sucked, but going to Akron that next week was important for us to kind of be, all right, this is who we are. And that was the thing that propelled a lot of careers that game. I remember you had a great game.
Let me ask you this, because I can't remember. Maybe I talked to Hakeem. I talked to somebody about it, and it was more of a what if statement. And it was, what if Ryan Tracy didn't leave the team in 2001? Do you think that, we could have won 6 games? I mean, we were 2-9, without really a quarterback. We had Ryan Tracy. If we were able to keep him healthy, do you think that it?
I said before, shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's the biggest club in America.
Yeah, I know.
Played mentally, was he there? No,
he wasn't. No.
California Kid in him came out, and I think that knee injury was too much.
He didn't trust himself.
He was a hard worker regardless. So for him to go back home and he couldn't surf.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. He couldn't.
I couldn't surf. And also, I think he wanted to play baseball too.
He did. He loved baseball, and he ended up playing
I think he wanted to play baseball in the spring.
He did.
And
they thought he was nuts.
Yeah. So he had a heart-to-heart with me, and he just said, hey, I couldn't get on a surfboard. And that was like, yeah, okay.
But nobody, I don't think anyone saw that coming that day. I don't think anyone knew he left. I know he told the coaches the night before, but he didn't tell any of the players. And I was one of his best friends. He came home with me to upstate New York. God, so many times. We went fishing together.
22, because it's like, all right, Shane was good. Shane was awesome. And then Hoffman filled in, did very good. His personality and Etzel's personality didn't mix. Luke walked in, and Luke just, had a kid. So I watched these quarterbacks, not,
no, Luke was supposed to be the savior. I remember.
He had a kid, and he just wasn't do it anymore. And sometimes it just happens like that with quarterbacks, where it's just like, and here you have Dan, who's your savior, who could have used another, maybe a red shirt, but he probably would have played regardless, because that injury was just so bad. Like, watching Tracy's knee buckle like that is disgusting.
Yeah, I know it was.
Tight man's Lankaitis, his knees getting stuck in the, like you said, the tall grass. And even, so we could have been a better team if he didn't get hurt. My senior year, because it was awful. And it sucked, but I knew my time was to teach you guys how to play.
Yeah, you realized that. Yeah. And you took on a leadership role.
Yeah.
For sure. That we needed.
Ball State. And it's not that I don't know. It was like, fuck, this is it. And I think we fought hard that Rhode Island game, and it was just
we lost the Northeastern.
Yeah, the Northeastern's early in the year. That was a wake up call. So that's your bad spot game. So this is Matthew.
Hey.
This is Matthew. So
hey, big guy.
This is my defensive end, tight end. You got a new hat today. Check out this new hat.
This is mine?
Yeah, one of yours.
Yeah.
So national championship hats for our big.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah. So
I thought you were working.
No, I'm talking about here, bud. So that's Matthew. So that's my little bud that I'm trying to make to a little mini Jamar. Teach him the ways of the force at defensive end. And everyone, I moved to this town. And everyone's like, oh, you can't coach because the coaches have been here for so long. I said, I don't want my kid to play quarterback. I want my kid to play defensive end. So
Yeah.
I'm not step on toes here. I know how this process works. I know it's a long game. Hopefully they can stay in town and play here in high school because they have a good high school team that wins state championships for the Group 1 level.
A good core, yeah.
Urban Catholic coaches. So,
wow.
So we're in for an interesting journey with him.
We were talking about it too. Schumann was mentioning how, and I think maybe you did too, about Rob Long. His son is quarterbacking at Maryland.
You starting?
Yeah, he's going to be the starter, and how we have to do a better job of recruiting our own alumni players.
Yeah,
that hasn't happened.
Yeah,
to let someone like that go, and apparently, he visited UConn and they didn't offer him, and it's just shocking that Maryland takes him. They just let him go.
This is Michael. So
Michael,
my other running back defensive end. So that's Steven. Say hi, Steven.
Hi, Steven.
Hey, big man.
And yes, we're going. So our football practices starts next on the 5th, and we're excited to see what happens. But
I was top $50.
Okay, leave my $50. Get out of here. Go.
Smart kid.
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. It's like, you're listening to all these parents. I have my one rule: kids don't need trainers; they just need dads.
That's 100% true. That's 100% true.
When the message dies, you hand them off to a trainer.
That's 100% true.
You have to hear another voice. So I can be a little bit lunatic with my kids, teaching them, running around, working out with them, doing stuff, that little summer workout stuff. But I always see all these kids with their trainer training them. I'm like, no.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, just go outside, throw the ball, have your kid catch the ball 50 times, have them run, call it a day.
Yeah. How many? I mean, do you think that you'll be able to get up to UConn for a couple home games this year? Because they've already been asking me about it.
Yeah, I got to figure it out. I have a ref.
Okay.
Their birthday is funny. Their birthday is October 21st. Always falls on homecoming. So that's kind of a little bit of detriment. I try to make it once a year. I got to figure out my ref schedule to just abort in the game, but also they play on Saturday. So I always love those Friday night games. Those were kind of the really fun ones I really liked.
Okay.
Up and have some fun. But I'm really committed into high school football official, because I think Friday nights after I was done coaching, so I coached my high school team for 10 years, and then eventually converted after a while. Like, oh man, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm missing trips because of work.
You were a volunteer coach. They never paid you.
They gave me something. I was like
a couple grand here or there.
A few times I'm getting the full 5,000, and sometimes I got somebody else. Certain time it's just the coach just gives me $1,000, like $100 a week for a game, and it was weird. Like every Friday night, I gotta be somewhere. Where do I have to be? It's just weird. It just felt super weird. So then I took the referee class 3 years ago, and I get paid to watch football.
So, just out of curiosity, what do you think of like NFL referees, college referees? Do they get it right most of the time, or do you see them making mistakes or too many mistakes?
You have to be there. There's a lot, man. I was a floater for 2 years and on a crew, and some guys are just so detailed, so on it. These are your disciplines, these are your reads, this is what you have to do, what you see, call it, what you see, call it, be careful with the whistle, let the play roll out. So there's certain skills that you have to kind of roll, and to be an NFL official, you're right 95% of the time.
Yeah.
So, for people yelling at the referees and stuff, we're not kind of going to call it a pass interference call. Is your judgment. It's like how you're trained to call that. Holding is sometimes
happens every play, but they call takedowns.
So it's like, like the Chiefs, right? Them complaining about the call one time when they played the Jets. The Jets should have beat them this past year. It was a holding call, blatant holding call. But sometimes you don't want to call it. You want to just kind of let it go. When I'm coaching little kids control these games, not me.
Yeah, for sure.
he was holding. Yeah, he was holding eight yards away from the play, coach.
Yeah, it's not going to make a difference. It's not going to make a difference.
Guess what? The clock's running. You stop. I stop. I call that thing. The clock's going to run. Guess what? I just 2 plays away from you.
That's what I like. That's what I like.
So call the holding. Bring that back with the clock rolling. You're not going to run another play into 90 seconds. So guess what? That's 2 plays I just took from you guys. Take it as a loss. He wasn't making that play anyway. Don't yell at me. So understanding what people yelling at. Oh my God, you didn't see that he went outside on 4th and 1. How'd you call it? You cost us a game. I cost you a game. Is before that. I didn't cost you that game. The girl made a play, and that's it. How you you're gonna blame me for costing because they
gotta blame someone.
Yeah.
They gotta blame someone. Let me ask you this, and I'll let you go. UConn finally stepped up, and they're raising some money. They have a collective going, and they're trying to get funding because they lost a tight. Baylock told me they lost a tight end, one of their good running backs, and a linebacker because they transferred because they got NIL deals, and we have not operated that way at all. And we're starting a little late, but at least we have something to throw at these players.
You know what? It's like, for instance, I remember my roommate Carlos getting a Pell Grant, right? You got a Pell Grant, got his $1,500. He was fucking. You saw when the Pell Grant came out.
Everyone was over the moon. Everyone was going to the mall.
My parents, my mom made my money. My stepdad was kind of entry-level teacher. So it was kind of a, Carlos would actually buy me sneakers. He was like, yo, pick out what sneakers you want for the school year.
Yeah.
And I kind of saved money up, but he just kind of saw that, everyone's getting all this money, whatever. But now it's a little bit excessive, and I think it's going to blow up their face when the tax man comes and gets everybody. But I get it.
Exactly.
It's social media. It's ridiculous. But if we can give a little bit of money for these kids to feel a little bit comfortable, like for instance, I remember when the basketball team was, oh man, how much money the basketball team making? So when they made their little Final Four run or the Big East tournament, they used to get like $500 or $250 a day or $500 a day, right? That was like
Jesus Christmas.
So and back in 1998, you're like, damn, oh my God, that's awesome. That's all you need to give college kids. Just something, just a little bit of walking around money. Just give them a little.
Well, yeah, I know, and they're going to get a piece of the TV money now too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
we need to get in the conference. It sucks to watch the Big East tournament go away. We need to get in the conference, but it sucks that some guys will take our players. But you know what made me happy? Our kids got drafted.
They did, yes.
So yes,
after all that.
On the stores, there's some good football being played here, but if you're here for the money, even with the basketball team, it's like Hurley was dead set against it, but now he has to play a game and he kind of gets it, and you win a national championship, money's falling all over the place for the kids. I got money for like a parking ticket. I got money for accidents. You got one got through, and we got to take care of that. I got money for that, but giving these kids a lot of money, I don't know, but it's good that we're coming together and showing that we're committed. And there's a collective behind the scene to support, the kids, just to kind of say, hey, we are, because I think also we're a first class program. Like think about Robbie Tritz, right? Ryan Tritz, they were still honoring his scholarship.
Yeah, they did.
I hear, your scholarship 1 year guaranteed. I'm like, no, it's not. That's not true. Yeah, it is. Your scholarship went. Not at UConn.
UConn guaranteed all 4 years. We were one of the few schools that did at the time.
So other people told me these horror stories of guys. Yeah, Edsel put Ryan Tritz through hell, but he didn't have to go. He got a free scholarship. He just had to come and work in the school office for a couple hours a day for a free. So I always think that we're a first-class organization. Obviously, having the monster trailer that Oklahoma doesn't make up for it. But I bet you ask every athlete at UConn, and you ask every athlete at Oklahoma who had a better experience, and I know we did.
I agree with you 100% because of our
it was 9-4 team, the 10-3 team. I got the cup right here. I see the pictures. I laugh about it. And yes, I was on the 4-7 team and 3-8 team, and it hurt. And I knew my role was to pass on to be a culture carrier to you guys. And that's what my goal was. And I can walk away and say, you know what, I made defensive MVP, and I made
you made it. You made a difference.
And
you made a difference.
So I did have a successful career, and all the wins that we got when I was 7-4 and 10-3 are super special. But maybe those last 2 years sucked. And then,
but you made more of a difference then with the younger guys.
Watching you guys beat Rutgers in Jersey 2 years later makes me happy.
Yeah.
Watching the Motor City Bowl made us all happy.
Oh, I know.
Us beating Notre Dame, that was it. We don't win that UMass game. We don't win that UMass game. We don't play Notre Dame 11 years. I don't care what you say. It doesn't happen.
You're right, and you beat them twice. You beat the national champions twice.
Yeah,
and that made me want to come to UConn. I'm sure it made everyone else want to come to UConn. So I admire everything that you did. As a player, you were a force to be reckoned with. You did whatever was asked of you, whatever was best for the team. You didn't come off the field. I mean, you played special teams. Going from linebacker to defensive end is not an easy transition. You made it, and you made it well. And you saw your role, and you knew that we got a group of talented young defensive linemen. They need a leader. They need to be shown the right way to do things. They need toughness because your group of guys were badasses. They were as tough as nails. They were as tough as they come. The Pat Russo they talk about all the time. I mean, you were with a different breed, and then we came in and you molded us, and I think that it translated through all the success that we had throughout until 2010. And it's hopeful now. They're not going to play Tennessee. They're not going to play Michigan. They're not playing Clemson. They're at least playing a schedule to set them up for success. They're playing a schedule with teams they match up with and can beat. And one good year, along with basketball having a good year, can completely change the dynamic and completely change everything.
Think about Eastern Michigan, right? I think like we could have won. I one of my shoulda, woulda, coulda moments is they ran a screen and the ball went just over
your
in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Ypsilanti.
Could have batted that to myself and caught it and ran down the sideline. But we were there. We were there to win that game, and then we got home, and it was like, UConn on SportsCenter. UConn almost beat.
We were on SportsCenter. It was crazy. I remember that too.
And we could have won that game, and then beat Colgate, gave us more momentum. The Northeastern game was a debacle, which is us kind of being unprepared and kind of outcoached. But
Buffalo, Rhode Island. I remember all of them. Ball State, Middle Tennessee State. I mean,
we beat Buffalo. Buffalo was another Akron game where we went on the road and kind of handled our business, and we played tough, and a lot of guys came into their own that game. So that was an important game for us. But being 2-1 or 3-1,
you're right.
Louisville would have been a different ball game.
Yeah.
So I think, like I said, summers are stores. If they have a good summer and they're prepared, they can punch Maryland in the mouth. And kind of set the tone for them, and don't have that be your shoulda, woulda, coulda moment. Beat Merrimack. Duke will be interesting going on the road. How you handle maturity and being on the road, and how close of a team are you? That's what all that matters. Talent as a tight unit. Do you have a great game plan? Can we run the ball? Can our new quarterback show up, hit his guys, going against, Rob Long's kid? That'll be super funny. But it'll be interesting, man. 31st. Where am I the 31st? I'm somewhere, but we'll see. Maybe
we'll check your calendar.
Maybe we can go down and find Smoot.
Yeah, I'd love to find Smoot. Because I told him I had been talking with Phil Hunt, and Phil wants to use this podcast, and I'm gonna have a meeting with him and I guess Kyle Muncie,
Yes.
and he wants me to pick out the best episodes that have the least amount of swearing in them.
I did. I did good today. I don't think I got.
You were great. You were great, but it just to show that we're connecting with alumni that they have not been.
Yeah,
and it can make a difference.
Just like that dark spot on the right corner of Renter Stadium. Yeah. I think that's where our football kind of lies out there, where kind of having because think about it, you can have us kind of telling stories, but getting Darius Butler on, getting Dan on.
I gotta do a better job reaching out to the newer guys.
I'm sure Larry can connect you to Bob Quinn and kind of tell his story about his journey. And even if there's a football kid listening and look, I work in hospitality. I had no idea what I wanted to do when I graduated. And I got this really cool life where I travel the world. I work for the Four Seasons, taking these kids to Anguilla on Monday. So even type of career skills, kind of we can tell you stories about this, but also, hey, what's your roadmap of success after college and kind of put together. So this can go in so many different directions of not us just kind of telling war stories, but just also kind of saying, hey, listen, for that college kid that doesn't know what he wants to do, I mean, if you want to get into coaching, you can do this. If you want to get into finance, you can do this. If you don't know what you want to do, hey, you know what? Get into hospitality. Find a certain type of lane that you kind of work in. And now there's people that now you're hearing Dave Schuman's story, which is tremendous. He created the 7-on-7 football camps. He
pioneered it.
All these ESPN 100 stuff. Dave Schumann, UConn guy.
Yeah.
So, there's different ways that we can go, hey, you want to be a teacher? That's great. Dave Schumann, I want to be a gym teacher. But I have to find a way to supplement my income.
Yeah.
That's what NUC came from. He wanted to be a gym teacher like his dad. And all of a sudden,
he didn't tell me that. Wow.
He had a little camp to supplement his income, and the camp got bigger. And then he left the state, did another camp here. He told me, he's like, hey, you want to come work these camps? At the time, I was still playing flag football with my crew, so I couldn't do it. But he had some really, really good guys that would just travel the world, travel the states with him, going into camps, making a few $100 a weekend, timing kids, and then that was it. Got his little blue books, sent to all the schools.
Yeah, he wanted to come on with you because he loves you, and he couldn't come on tonight. But I'll definitely have him on with you because I'm doing a show with him as well.
Yeah,
and I think it's great.
Is also the process, like his LinkedIn. He's on LinkedIn talking about football, and no one does that.
No.
So you professional dad who thinks he knows how to get his kid to college, but doesn't know the grade scale, what he has to do, the roadmap. And it was really interesting was, my college roommate says, Jamar, you're an engineer in a way. And I said, what do you mean? Because you engineer people because you speak things into existence. And I think of Louis as an example. Like, all right, Louis, you got to move to defensive end. It's awesome. Practice easier. Make sure you watch football as a linebacker. Make sure you get strong. You want to be benching, 225 about 25 times. Get that 40 down to a 4.5. That's it. You'll make the league. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all good.
Yeah.
On tape, be all conference, bench 25 times, and run a 4.5. You'll make the league. There's no way around it. That's it. That's all you gotta do. And I know you can do it. You're just capable. And no one really kind of told me that. I remember Chad Cook's like, man, when I was pledging my fraternity, he's like, listen, Jamar, you can make the league. And that was never my goal.
No,
But it was like, damn, wow. But one thing I realized, I still kind of live in that shoulda, woulda, coulda world. One time, Cully, I'm at my hotel, working at the Four Seasons New York downtown, and I saw Cam Newton. And I'm a big guy. I saw Cam Newton, and all my NFL aspirations.
Well,
because
you saw what a monster he was.
These quadzillas, right? I got these big legs.
Yeah,
his were bigger than mine.
Oh my God, that is so crazy.
He was like 6'6", 270.
Yeah.
all that, me 6'3", 245, 6'3", 265.
Well, I think you could have played linebacker. I think you would have been a linebacker in the NFL. I think you would have been fine.
I didn't have the reps. I never got the time. I never got the craftsmanship. So
no, you didn't. You didn't.
I bounced around. I played everywhere. So just a kid, just craft. Just if you're an middle linebacker, work your craft. If you're a guard, work your craft. Just work your craft and be very, very good at it. With my kids, I'm just teaching them how to play defensive end so they can use your hands. That's it. Use your hands. Boom, boom. Use your hands. Don't use your hands.
So tough to do, and it's good that you're doing that with them.
Yeah,
because it's the lost art.
Yeah,
it's a complete lost art. Well, thank you so much for coming on and doing this.
Let's keep doing this. Keep allowing us to kind of tell our stories for those people who know me. And here's my voice to my boys from 2E Penner in the 1998 summer. All of us.
Yeah.
That's special to all the great UConn teams that, we kind of had to fight and kind of have our path so we can build a program where, we had to kind of humble ourselves. It was always fun, to working out in the locker rooms, to being out in Sherman, kind of running those tracks, to chasing Chad Martin for those guys who were chasing me. It's 4 years I never forget.
No, and I hope to God we get back there. I think we have a chance to get back there. And, that's the purpose of this, to hear everyone's story, everyone's experience, how they got there and how they've done it after graduation. And I'm so happy that you're in the hospitality world. You're very happy. You got kids, you're doing great, you're coaching. And, that's what we need to present to the kids now that are playing, that as alums, we have successful alums, as successful as anyone else.
Yeah.
And that gets lost in the shuffle sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think the more that we can show that, you're going to go to UConn, you're going to have a chance to play in the NFL, but you're going to get a great education and you have a great alumni team who will work with you and try to help you and make sure that you come out and you have a job.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest part of it.
Prepared for a lot of different things, from the different things you learn about toughness, mental sharpness, mental toughness, but also, like Larry says, trust. Be someone who you can trust and trust your. Like we always said, who's your friend? Teammate. So having that culture that we had, making sure it gets passed along to our generations. It's just, I live by the golden rule. Treat others how you want to be treated, and the energy you give is the energy you get back. So if you give back good energy, you kind of get that return. How many great guys that just gave off fucking awesome energy?
You have to give respect to get respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So keep up the great work. Keep sharing these stories. It's great to jump on the train when I travel now. Do it. Nikki's was fun. Nikki actually got me into the travel industry.
Oh, that's right. Right. She was at Sandals.
Yeah. So she recommended me for Sandals, and I haven't left. She went off and did her thing. So my last trip, I think when I went down to Orlando, 2 weeks out, listening to her podcast. I got halfway through you and Maria's podcast. So I'm happy that you're branching to the basketball, because you know what, those stories are awesome.
It's good. You know what, the women are doing great, and I love talking the WNBA with Maria, and she knows what she's talking about. Like I said, she should be an analyst.
Yeah, and you know what, and this will kind of lead her into it. Think about Dan, right? Dan was just joking around, showing film. I remember
yeah, absolutely.
Boom, and then Darius Butler did the same thing. Just kind of, hey, if I was playing defense, I would do this. And boom, they got hired. So Maria's the same way. Just keep putting her on. And then before you know it, and next year, they're going to lose her. She'll be gone. She'll be doing the games.
I'll be so happy for her.
Yeah.
She's a pleasure to work with. Laban is always entertaining. Laban always keeps me on my toes. Tyler King now, doing some MMA talking. And, I got to talk with Jim Tucker. Jim Tucker may come on and have the PFL be a sponsor of the show.
I remember he tried to get me an internship at the NFL when I first graduated college.
Yeah, he was an agent. He worked in the NFL office. I mean, what an incredible background he has.
I didn't get a job, but just for me to interview at 470 in the NFL, Avenue was really, really cool. I saw Goodell, I saw Eugene Robbins, I saw a lot of cool people. So, Tucker was really trying to help out. So it's really, really tremendous kind of looking at the path of different people that we took and we met along the way.
Yeah.
And it's truly remarkable. So,
Yeah. Great guys.
Is Dave Kaplan coming on? You're going to get him?
I'm trying to get Cappy. I did my first soccer player the other day.
Who's that? Which one?
Luis Aranez.
Okay.
He was on. He played for 2 years and he coached the national championship team.
Okay, nice.
So I had Luis on. It was my first soccer player. That was great.
Yeah.
I'm having a volleyball player on soon, and I'm having, is it Bethany Hart, the real good track star?
Yeah.
She's coming on. Yeah.
Good.
Phil has advised me to branch out and try to get alumni from different sports. Erica Higgins is trying to get me the hockey players. I'll do some stuff with them. So the more we can do, the better. And we're raising awareness. And this last podcast we did with Chris Nowinski blew up, and I got to be on the local news for it, and it was huge. I did radio for it. Joe D played clips on his show in Connecticut. So this podcast has really turned into something, and I never saw it coming, and it saved me. I'm happy as well. So, but I will say thank you again to our sponsors, Procyon Partners. They are the full service, complete financial firm. They specialize in wealth management, employee benefits, and retirement planning. And President Sean Rabinowitz, he'll do whatever it takes to meet your needs. And for Jamar Wilkins, thank you for being here. I am Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and throw them back at life.